a little while ago, today, in fact, I posted this tweet, and I need to put more around, like on the YouTube community to get more of a poll, but I've just done this on Twitter for now. It's the easiest place to get it out, and more people use it than the community page on YouTube. I wish there was a way for that to be pushed a little bit more, or a good, appealing social. Anyway, it's not that I'm only interested in what Twitter has to say, that this is the best way to gather opinions, be they good or bad. Now, we don't have a huge likes on this, but we've got 20,000 views on it and 126 comments. So I wanted to go through some of the comments and see, what other people think in the YouTube comments, because hi YouTube. But anyway, so the real question, not a rhetorical question. What's got you bored with Endwalker? And for me, it's the no gradual grind. I like having things that you can grind towards and have little milestones, so that at the end, like, it has to be just inconvenient enough to feel really good to finish. You know what I mean? It's not good for everything. There are certain grinds that are mind-numbing, that are just really just too much. I really hated the grind having to like clear dungeons, because dungeon content is boring AF. So dungeon atmas were awful back in the day, but everything else was fine. I didn't mind doing fates. I didn't mind doing the books back in the day. There were milestones that you went through, and then I thought it was cool being able to trade in your old relic to give you a little boost in the next one. That was a nice little payoff. Light farming was fine. So let's go through what other people think. There is another point that I want to get into later on something where it is, I'm not super fond of the current job, or the lack of job identity, and I saw a few people talk about this when I skimmed over it earlier. So I was glad to see that other people were on the same page with me, but like others have said, it's Twitter, so who knows? I had a partner who now completely burns bridges with me, who introduced me to the gaming community. Not having them around is painful. I don't feel comfortable or anything like that. Okay, that's just a personal reason, not really anything with the game. That's fine. COVID lockdown. Fixation on Final Fantasy. So just change of interest, not a big deal there. I was kind of hoping for more things about the game so that we talk about, game. For me, just kind of had my fill of the game and wanted to say goodbye to that arc of my life. Was always on and off. Sorry about them. On and off, but I got super back into it at the end of Stormblood. Super regret it because Stormblood Blades were so good. Got into Clear Savage. Super into Shadowbringers for a fair bit, but I had to take a break because of university responsibilities. Came back for the updates. Started to try the content, but couldn't dedicate any proper grinds. Walker was fun, but the Savage experience was turbo frustrating due to the endless drama and shenanigans trying to raid with friends. That's just a personal issue. No longer associating with any of them for various reasons. Okay. Also, Final Fantasy XIV was a big story thing, so with the end of Endwalker, I was satisfied with the conclusion on the major story arc we've been on. It's just a good point to hop off with no regrets. That's actually pretty fair. That's pretty fair. I know that the raids were kind of a point for a lot of people to just move away from it. Not bored with the game, but I, in my normal 0.5 period where I play other games till the next expansion, that will take up all my time. It's fair. It's fair. So people are just kind of... I guess I should have said why even make this tweet in the first place, and there's like a whole lot of drama on, content creators saying, I quit Final Fantasy, and then other people like, yeah, it sucks, and then other people like, no, you're making it suck because you're burnout or whatever, and just, I figured it would be good to like actually get some feedback and see where people are at, because I like the discussions. I like taking things at a more objective point of view, but it seems like a lot of these are just or at least the first few of these, rather, not a lot. We're only like 4 or 5 into 120 comments. I need to watch my words. Lack of new stuff to do aside from the raids and trials. Not much holds my attention if I want to run content. And for EO was a nice break, but not having a relative grind really hurt this expand overall. But I know I can just go into full tomes on patch day and get my final relic. Combination of friends not playing as often, not being as excited for new content like dungeons raids, because I'm not a fan of the battle system and encounter design choices. It's frustrating because I still love the game and want to play, but I can't bring myself to. Yep, things have gotten a little stale. Very homogenized in some of the job design, but we'll get into that in another video. Usually end of expansion boredom multiplied to 10 times since I found last tier of Savage quite awful and there's nothing to grind for. Stream mounts are not a real grind. I beg to differ, but it is not fun. I'll give you that. Shadowbringers at least had Bosnia. Bosnia was great. And Bosnia at least gave you the option of not doing Bosnia. So, you know, same when Bosnia dropped, had so much fun. All the instances, all those were amazing. Sure, Castrum was rough getting in and doing sometimes the puzzles or just killing things in certain ways was amazing. Now it's just tome dump, here's your weapon, it's a joke. Got a few people who are on the boat, on the same train of enjoying Bosnia. I know Jesse didn't like Bosnia. These friends were not doing stuff, so personal reason, been running solo for a while with any non-roulette content. To focus on gearing past the MSQ minimum feels pointless. Yeah, there's literally no purpose to gearing if you're not going to do the raids. And the casual content is very dry right now. I thought we'd get a lot more with the Island Sanctuary, and I'm really disappointed that we didn't get any sort of breeding. I thought that would have been great. Animal husbandry, that was something that I was really hopeful for, because we have a little bit of it with the chocobo racing where you can breed chocobos together to make a really good racing chocobo. I wanted to get more into that, but it was a little, it was very complex, I guess. I should have given more time to it though. It seemed like fun, but I kind of missed the part from 11 where it doesn't need to take as long as it did in base 11, but I miss like nurturing the egg, doing stuff with it. It hatches, you've got the chick, it grows up. That's more of a long-term investment into something, but I really enjoyed that. And I just like in Black Desert, I almost always just was out catching horses and breeding them. I just liked that. If only it wasn't such a locked behind cash shop items. I think it's more than boredom as I got back to playing Shadowbringers due to more friends playing, still playing even solo with working 40-hour shifts through COVID and after. Get tired of running long grind and lack of motives and goals. Yeah, just nothing to work towards. Fun optional community thing feels like it's missing this time around because of the relic grind being what it is. While Bosnia and Eureka both had issues, it made people talk about it and form its own activities and communities that made the game more active. I'm not sure what that was supposed to be, but I agree with that. I hated the grind. Oh, so we got somebody who's against Bosnia. So having the relics not tied to it has been amazing, and I think the relics go back to being tied to one will be a step backwards. Overall, I think this expansion has been great for my playstyle. Got somebody who likes idle games. I feel like that's kind of the the streamer have somebody who didn't agree with him. He's gonna insult. It's like, why are you playing an MMO if everything is just handed to you? I don't know. There are games for that. I just don't want this to turn into one. That's the thing. I think, I totally disagree with being going back to Eureka would be a bad thing, but doing like they should build off of Bosnia for sure. What you didn't like about Bosnia and Eureka was that if you died in there, you'd be set back levels. That's true. That's a very old MMO mechanic that they put in there to make like it feel like something. So you were a little bit more on edge with your surroundings. You know, you felt more, there was an actual sense of danger. In 14, it's really like you're just at the top of the food chain unless you queue into something. And even then, you're still almost unkillable. I get that. It's an archaic system that not everybody has to like, and that's totally fair that it should stay in other games. I think there are a lot of people that still wouldn't like it even if they grew up with 11 or old school WoW, which I think still had level backs or loss of XP. But yeah, I still liked things hitting hard at the very least, and having less fast travel was kind of nice for a little bit, at least initially. I think having MMOs or games where there's an inconvenience that you work towards overcoming, and then it's no longer inconvenient. That's a good payoff, and not this inconvenient so that you can buy a skip to get over that inconvenience. Not like that. I'm talking about you make an inconvenience, you limit the player so that they can push forward, overcome it, and now they don't have it. And it feels even more rewarding because you had that experience of it being inconvenient. It's kind of like, you know, on a more philosophical way, having bad days makes you appreciate the good ones that much more. Yeah, I don't think players should suffer. Don't take it like that. I don't think players should have to hurt themselves mentally to enjoy a payoff at the end, but there should be some sort of effort So somebody who likes the relic grind. Another Eureka Bosnia enjoyer. It is more, there is no motivation to farm anything besides gil. And there's really no point to farming gil either, unless you want a house, which does nothing. Like, they completely dropped housing. There's nothing to do with housing. And yet they'll still try and kick you out. Like, I'm not going to let go of my house. It was hard to get. Mr. Weekend hope they will not let us wait too long for the expansion because people are already getting annoyed at the prospect and lack of hype for the Dawn Trail shows. We're going to have to wait and see. We've only had one fan fest, so we'll wait and see how the hype builds, but they need to do something. Jobs feel very samey. So my anti-boredom tactic of multi-classing is getting defeated. That's fair. That's fair. I will say that I'm really bad at Machinist. It should be super simple because you're supposed to hit the same combination of buttons every single time, and I still screw it up somehow. I don't know why my brain isn't it. I'm not the kind of person that says it needs to be changed, though, to cater to me. I'm just bad. I'm looking up stuff, too. I'm trying. I'm just bad at it. I don't know why it's not clicking. Often you have to make your own entertainment after hitting a certain point in the game, and I feel I've already done most of what I cared about. Yeah. And I played tanks in dungeons, which dungeons are boring as hell. There's nothing to grind tomes for. Like, I don't care about relic. That'd have to be really cool for me to care about it. Like, I know that's kind of like going back on what I've said, where you want something to grind for, but then there's a grind that you can do and you're not into it. I hate dungeons. That is mind-numbing grind. I despise that content. And it doesn't matter what job I'm on. I know in the last video on the highlights channel, somebody was like, well, you went on White Mage on in a trust during a dungeon. That's the most boring you could have made it. What are you talking about? And it's like, I feel that way about every job no matter what. Just because I chose the most boring route does not mean I'm only talking about the most boring route. People were going to get upset if I didn't go in the trust. Oh, you should have seen what they said and what they did and the reaction, blah, blah, blah. So, no grind for something worthwhile. This feels like we're going through the motions. Island Sanctuary is pretty dull. Yeah, it started out really cool, and then it got very, very old pretty quick. Kind of a burnout, so enveloped by the story that now that I've poured so much time into it and finished the main story, I don't want to do anything else in the game. Fair enough. Some story's done, nothing else to do. So we got a gamer here. Did top. The raid gear is so far downgrade from Abysso, so I have zero desire to do more Savage for glam. There's no relic grind outside of roulettes. I will give it to them. The raid gear has been very... Shadowbringer was peak. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of good stuff. I will say that the flame effects are really cool. Sorry, Dark Knight, you can't get any flames for your dark side. But everybody else gets it on their armor now, so, you know, we got that, which is cool. Only log in for DSR, and that's been the most had at month. Nice. I'm glad somebody's enjoying that. Feel the same. At the end of Shadowbringers. Hated Bosio, so there's technically more interesting things to do now as opposed to then. Like what? And it's fair. If people don't like Bosio, that's fine. Story feeling like a filler that eventually led to nowhere. Nothing to build excitement for Dawn Trail. That is true. We didn't actually have like a cliffhanger to... Like we had the letter from what's her face. I think we get one more thing in 5 or 6.55. Relic grind. Not a fan of where job design is gone. Another person that wanted relic grind. Lack of people. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like not a lot of people want to play because of the issues that they're having with the game, which leads to less people playing, which means that the whole social aspect of the MMO is completely taken out. Especially disappointed with how the plotline ended, though. It's kind of soured on that. Yeah, I wouldn't... But it's like, it's not even just that it's the end of the expansion. It's that people are just not happy with what's available in the expansion. If you are an ultimate raider, you seem to be eating pretty good. And that's fine. I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing, but it's for a very select group of people. And I don't have the time or the patience to put towards any more ultimates. I don't want to. I don't want to do T. I don't want to do DSR. I don't want to do top. If you want to do it, that's fine. I'm sure the content is great. I've heard great things about it. Not for me. So that's a no from me, boss. So after 4 expansions, got bored of the same formula with every expansion. For last December, been single player games. Having so much fun. Still trying to decide if I'll come back for Dawn Trail. It's fair. Ironically, the thing that burnt me out the most with Endwalker Shadowbringers, rather, the level 70 to 80 grind. I'd love to get my favorite class up to 90, especially for raid versatility, but Bosja is a slog for leveling. Bosja is the most efficient way to level. What are you talking about? It gets samey, for sure, but that's the fastest way you're going to do it. You don't have to go into Bosnia to level. You can just do your daily stuff, which I should totally do. There's much to do beside bit dailies when you log in. Really want to play the game I love. Just coming up with my own stuff. That's actually, you know what? Crafting. Crafting is another thing that got really homogenized, really watered down. And I don't think it was bad that each job had cool stuff in it, and I didn't mind that you got better stuff for leveling all of them. That was a cool trade-off. Like, and I get if people didn't want to level everything just to be able to craft, but I don't know. I was really invested in crafting when that was a thing. Like, it was something to build towards. Why does it have to be that people who want to enjoy something want to take away big parts of it that make it interesting in the first place, just so that they'll try it and then dump it? And like, all they want to do is press a button with a macro, get your gear, press a button in the macro, and then craft stuff. Like, it used to be way more engaging and way more fun. I loved the crafting minigame, and now okay. They want it to be accessible for everybody, but why not encourage more people to do it? Why does everybody have to be into every aspect of the game? It's not necessary. And it's all you have to do is level them up. It's extremely easy to level them up nowadays. Why does why does the skill ceiling have to be dropped to the effing floor just to be accessible to people? Because then the people who are actually enjoying and actually putting in the effort and putting in the time and enjoying what it is, this is the thing that I was saying. If people don't talk about what's great about things, then the people who gripe about all the mundane things, oh, this isn't super easy. I can't hit the button like I do in my my idle game. Why can't I just log in and collect everything? Why do I have to do things? Why do I have to make an effort to do things? Those people are the loudest. Minority, majority, doesn't matter. They're the only ones talking. And so then the people who are enjoying the stuff and everything that is good about the game, everything gets just dumbed down to absolute trash. So instead of having people who are getting into the game and getting invested in it and figuring things out and learning things and like getting together with other people who will help them get into it, oh yeah, just log in, do your stuff, everything's super easy, log out, hit a button, see you, next month. There should be things that you can go to in an MMO that are for MMO players. If people want to do really easy reward stuff, I have idle games on my phone, okay? I'm not against idle games. I'm not shaming you if you like idle games. Don't make the MMO an idle game. Please let us put some effort into making this happen. And I know not everybody has time. It shouldn't be a complete slog to do things in the game. I agree with you. But things don't have to be so watered down, so monotonous. So you remember the old way did it because you wanted to, but the changes saw engagement numbers go up for people to do crafting. And that's a success. Yeah, to them it would be a success to see more people engaging in it. It doesn't, but as long as we're on the same page, that doesn't necessarily mean it's good for the health of the game. Because more people are engaging with it because they can log on, get their gear, put in the materia, hit a button, and they're done crafting. That's it. That's all they have to do. They just have to log on, put on Netflix, hit the button, like get all their mats together, hit the button, macro goes. Yep. Oh, sound hits. Next button, part 2. Oh, we're done? Okay, hit the button. Here we go. Oh, there's the sound. Hit the second part. Something being engaging and fun are not mutually exclusive. Yeah. I don't know if the conversation is really being engaging and fun as much as it is being accessible and fun. Like, there shouldn't be a huge barrier to entry, but not every barrier to entry is a bad thing. Like, people should have ways to catch up. Like, if somebody's just getting into the game, like, there's not a whole bunch of new crafters that come out, right? It's always the same crafters. All you have to do is level them. If there is a way to boost yourself up to a certain way, kind of like how new jobs come out and they're already like 10 levels behind the previous cap, something to like either put things up to that point or certain items that you can pick a crafting job and like get yourself your bearings without having to grind all the way up through everything. Because most of us didn't have to grind 0 to 90. We grinded 0 to, what was it, 50? And then 60, and then 70, and then 80, and then 90. So we're really only grinding 10 levels per job, per expansion. Yeah, we do have the expert crafters, which is nice. And I have found myself complaining about that at certain points, but my complaints are wrong. I want to be able to craft things on my own. I have multi-crafters for that. But yeah, I should be making friends with other crafters who have different things. I liked when I talked to my FC and we were like, hey, are you going to take these 2 crafters? Cool. Okay, honey, are you taking these 2 crafters? Cool. Okay, and then you take those 2 crafters? All right, we're covered. And then it's a social aspect. But now it's I don't know, man. But yeah, the leveling is a whole other issue, though. I just miss the old way of things, and I don't know. I could... A lot of my gripe right now, yes, the grind not having one, the lack thereof is a big issue. Because I just don't want to log in. And Yoshi said, if you don't have anything to log in for, just play something else, and I will. That's totally fine. But there's also ways for the game to give you things to do, not to make you log in. And there is a whole other conversation around giving you incentive to log in and feeling like you have to log in to get a certain thing. Does that make sense? Because there's a reason why things are capped. One, it's to make it longer so that you're subbing for a longer time so you can get everything, right? That's kind of one of the ideas. But at the same time, if tomes were not capped at any point, there would be some people who would be burning themselves out because they'd be like, well, if I'm not grinding for this currency, I'm wasting time. I have to get it. I'm not optimizing my potential, my earning potential in this. So you have to balance how players will min-max the game. Yeah, because it really is a big perception thing. Lost Ark had the RNG progression. Yeah, that's a whole other issue, but that did play into it. Yeah, I'm trying to see everything being done day 1 or week 1 of a new patch and nothing else. I'd like to have a little grind. Yeah, just a little bit. Being pretty interesting for the filler story. Yeah, it's very short too. Not having a group to do EX trials with. Yeah, but I mean, like that, you go out and do that, but then it is the issue of having to find people to do that with. Not bored because you're more of a completionist, way more to do. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, there are things for you to do. It's whether or not everybody finds that interesting or what they'll do. Oh my. Why did I try to record today? Why am I doing this? Nothing. Wish I had more time to put into my to-do list. Haven't been able to start crafting relics because work eats up. I should actually put in more time to the crafting relics and see. It's just that crafting, like I said, is just so boring now. You don't actually have to sit down and do anything. You're just... It's all macros. And I'm going to hit the macros. It's available. I'm not going to not hit the macros just to have fun with crafting anymore. Why am I going to waste time at that point? But at the same time, I'm just not going to hit anything. I'm not going to do anything at all. I always level up my crafters. I always get the first bit of gear. I always pentameld, and then I do nothing with it. Expansion feels very unoriginal. There's just isn't anything to do aside from raid and do trials. True. If I didn't have raid, I wouldn't be playing. Actually, I don't play if I don't have raid or the EX trials. Once I'm done with the EX trials, I'm not playing anymore. There are a lot more comments that I got kind of sidetracked on that tangent. Nothing PvP has been that thing for me this expansion. That just got me into PvP. That's good. See, Crystalline Conflict is fantastic. It's very good, and I like the ranking system. It's been fun. I just wish that some people were more coordinated or could agree on what they wanted to do for strategies. There's a whole subset of the PvP folks who have their ideas of how things are doing, but they don't really put anything out there to share the thoughts. It's just like, oh, people will figure it out. But then if you disagree, then we're going to come for you. I think we're getting basically the same stuff. Either people don't like the relic or people do like the relic. I think fewer people like the relic than don't like the current relic. But yeah, it's... I don't know. I could go through more of these. None of them really stood. I'm trying to see any that... Here's one that has a few more likes. Don't have any nostalgia for old Final Fantasy games. Since 14 is my first one, so the MSQ has been incredibly underwhelming and boring. I didn't play the older ones either, but I still thought it was kind of cool. I got interested in other games because of Opera Omnia, though. So I didn't actually play them. Nothing specific. The game is boring. To me now, as it has been every other expansion at this point. The game's fine. There's just nothing new releases and other stuff. They release other stuff I'm way more interested in playing while I wait patiently for the next expansion. Content is a non-issue for me. Okay, that's totally fair. It's just, it seems that some people are just done with the expansion. And that's fine. Like, that's totally cool too. Endwalker feels kind of like what they did with mostly everything they did in the previous expansions. To see how much less they could get away with it being passable. I think I'm with you on wanting a new fun grind. The current ones are too mind-numbing. I do at least like collectability in Gathering. The little bit that I've done of the Gathering relic has been fun. I don't have the motivation to put the time into it, but that's definitely no fault of the devs. That's totally fine. So yeah, that's it for this discussion. Is everyone complaining the fact that the grinds are optional? No, I think that either some people are complaining that the grind is not there anymore, so nothing like Bosnia or anything improved on Bosnia, or people didn't like Bosnia and they like the current relic system, or they're just bored of the game, and because that's the kind of point of the expansion, or people are kind of more like me where there's nothing to just log on in and beat things up for. That part isn't fun. The enjoyable part of doing these raids and EX trials and all that stuff has always been doing it with my friends. I have no interest in doing it with Party Finder because the combat itself is just not engaging. It's not entertaining. It's not fun. And every job does the exact same thing. You hit the same buttons in your rotation. You hit the same 2-minute cooldowns at every point in the fight. You have your gauge that you build up with that is built up to the same point at every part of the fight. You have your off globals that are hit at the same part every point of the fight to build up that gauge. Like everything is just exactly the same. Learning the fights is very cool. After that, doing them isn't quite as fun. It's not really as entertaining. But yeah, there's a lot else that I want to go into about job stuff. So that's going to be another video that I'm kind of writing something up on. But other stuff's going to be coming soon too with P11 and then P12 part 1 and 2 and Zeromus EX. And I think that's it for now. And the final Corsair video. And then we're going to go into the other one. So anyway, if you have any thoughts on this, if you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments. If for nothing else, just so that the devs can see something. Again, I'm asking people, what about the game is making you not want to play? And if you want to play, that's fine. I don't know why people answer. I'm not upset with it. Well, you know what? No, I'm taking that back. I'm taking that back right away because I said earlier that the issue with people saying, not saying that things are good is part of the problem. Never mind. If you are enjoying the game, if you're enjoying the expansion, also leave a comment and let us know, let the devs know what they're doing right. I'm sorry. I almost went full hypocrite on that one. Yeah, you should totally just, if you have any opinions on that. Yeah, I caught myself there. Whoops. Anywho, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Everybody on stream, love you all. Hope you have a great rest of your night. God bless you all, and we will see you next time.